A new report from the Urban Land Institute suggests the Astrodome should live on. The nonprofit education and research group recommends the 50-year-old dome be converted into a unique indoor multi-use park, much like proposals unveiled last year. The Harris County Commissioners Court is expected to formally receive the ULI recommendations at its next meeting this coming week, March 31st. But many are asking, why are we still talking about this after voters voted no on tax dollars being funded to transform it 2 years ago? So what will Commissioners Court decide, and what do you think should happen? Are we any closer to seeing anything done with the dome? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you. You can weigh in on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send a tweet. Use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our Fox 26 senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico. We also have a panel today made up of attorney Nomi Hussein and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So a lot of people are confused by this. Voters voted no 2 years ago, but ultimately it was going to be up to Commissioners Court to decide, right?
Well, it kind of reminds me of talking about children. How many times do I have to say no?
There you go.
To make this point. You know, and it's funny to me that in talking with Judge Emmot in the last month or so, this is the plan that he's been pushing, and then the consultants come out with their report, and lo and behold, it's the exact same plan. Amazing, amazing. I don't know when this is going to end. I think it's going to end when Judge Emmot gets what he wants, and that's that we're going to make the dome into a public park and a public place. I still have, my main question is, who is going to pay to keep up with the upkeep of the dome and to air condition this giant public park? Millions of dollars a year, and the park is just not going to generate that kind of money. Jackie Bally, I mean, we already said no once. It was overwhelmingly defeated, the exact same plan, and now we're back doing it again.
Well, I think proponents who wanted to save the Astrodome, and I was one of them,
I've been
actually.
one of them, too.
Yeah.
I'm over it, but I was.
It was the 8th wonder of the world. So
Right.
Proponents just assumed incorrectly that voters would agree and want to save it. So then whenever the voters came out and said no, then a lot of things happened behind the scenes. We're seeing quotes and figures being thrown around that it costs around $171,000 for the maintenance of the dome versus maybe 20 million or 20 versus 70, which is a large gap to tear it down. So they're saying that it's at least cost effective to still maintain it while we find out a very good use for it. The latest proposal that we've seen that the commissioners are going to actually look at and see if they take any action on says that there should be a public-private partnership, as opposed to when we took it to the voters, it was going to be tax dollars.
Just tax dollars.
So that's the difference, and I think it all depends on who the private entity is that comes up with this kind of money.
Nomi Hussein, thank you for coming in. Mustafa's out of town. He got you to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to come here. We appreciate it. You know, how many times do we have to say no to the county that we don't want to spend any money on this?
Well, I think that there's some different alternatives that are being proposed. And I think that Judge Ed Emmot is going to be looked upon by future generations as someone who is very creative, and they're going to be thankful to him because I think it's a huge asset and it shouldn't be torn down. How many times have we had someone come out to our house to tell us how much it's going to cost to repair something, and they get into it and it's going to cost a lot more than what we thought? So the estimate is, like Jackie said, you know, 20 to 70 million, but this thing is, you know, 30 feet down is where the field is. I mean, it was built to sustain, you know, hurricane force winds. So I think it's going to cost a lot more to tear it down than what they're saying. So, you know, I think it's a good idea to save it. I think we should keep our options open. And if we can figure out a way to do it without taxpayer dollars being spent, I think it's a fantastic idea.
But here's my concern with that. I want you both to weigh on this. Here's my concern with that is you make it a public park. A park is not going to generate the millions of dollars it's going to take just to air condition this space every month. Where is that money going to come from?
Well, you know, there's going to be vendors there. There's going to be businesses that can rent spaces there. This is going to be a venue. I mean, when there's big events happening in the summer in Houston, you're hard pressed to find a big venue to do it. You've got some hotels here, you've got some other big spaces, so there's different creative ways that we can generate income. As far as the air conditioning cost, as Jackie said, right now it's about $161,000
Yeah, but nobody's in there. That's just maintenance, Jackie. I mean, that's just keeping it at a comfortable 80 degrees.
Well, the first proposal was to keep it as a public space. This proposal is actually saying let's have a multi-use facility. So it could be a public park, but it also could have entertain some businesses. It could be a convention center. It could have many different uses. So there is a difference in the report that ULI just gave the commissioners, and they are professional planners. So let's hope they know what they're doing.
We'll find out. Let's go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
We would hope. Okay, let's take a look at Twitter. Judge Ed Emmot says, I am convinced it would be a colossal mistake to not use the asset known as the Dome. Clyde Eccles says, the voters of Harris County, Judge Emmot already voted. Time to demolish the Astrodome. And then Ben says, I'd like to see it converted into a year-round winter park for skiing, tubing, and snowboarding. Talk about cost. There you go. Now you'd have to maintain snow and ice as well. But hey, Dallas has something similar to that happening up in Arlington, I think. I like that idea.
Yeah,
I'm with Ben.
Let's keep the Dome at a cool 30 degrees. That won't cost much.
Hey, it's a great idea, though. You know, something we don't have.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. And it's hard. If you want to go skiing in Houston, you got to fly somewhere.
Yep.
You know, I've always been. I went to the Dome right after it opened. I'm old enough to have been there right after the Dome opened, and have been a long time proponent of keeping it. But as time goes by, at some point you just got to say, wait a minute, we've had enough of this. We've got two facilities right there on that same footprint. You have the Texans and the rodeo saying we need the parking space more than we need the Dome.
Well, you got the parking space across the freeway at Astroworld, you know, of the old Astroworld site. So I disagree with you, Chris. I think it'd be a huge, colossal mistake to tear it down. I think we need to keep our options open. I think we need to let the county commissioners do their job. And if we can figure out a way to save the Dome, make it a public park, make it a multi-use venue, it's something that Houston needs. As the 4th largest city in America, there's not a lot of big open spaces we can take our families. And this would be a definite option that we should explore further before just tearing it down.
What you're seeing is this is just a sign of people just having a hard time letting go.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And ultimately, it is in the hands of the county commissioners and the county judge. And
he's definitely not ready to let go.
And it's clear that he's a proponent of saving our 8th wonder. So I suspect we're going to be saving our 8th wonder.
We're going to have the 8th wonder of the world for a long time to come.
Yep.
You know, look, if it works out, great. But the problem is how many times do the voters have to vote on the same plan? And eventually, it's going to turn into anger.